Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here today with episode 2520 of the Cabral Concept. This is our Friday review, where anything goes. We're going to be going over 2 great research studies for the week. You'll definitely want to check this one out based on your immunity and how tied it is now we know to your gut and actually fighting off viruses. So stay tuned for that. We've got one on fungal-based infections. A lot of people dealing with fungal-based infections. Their nails is a big one, and we're going to talk about that today. Actual research as to what works. A product review directly tied into some of that research because, hey, if the research is there, why not share with you one that's inexpensive that actually works? Next is my book review of the week, a book that I've been meaning to read for years. And when I say years, I mean like 15 years. And I finally did it. I said, hey, this is the right time. Going into the new year, we need to check out this book and then, of course, review it here on our Friday review. And I'll get into, of course, my podcast recap of the week. And before we do that, let's go over our updates for the week. So always love this time of the year. Always love doing podcasts this time of the year as well, because for me, it's ending the year, but it's going into a new year. And I even look at this now that I've been kind of following that 12-week methodology now for like 5, 6, 7, 8 years, is that I look at it as every month now is like a fresh start, right? You can even say every week's a fresh start, but you know, there's something to the start of every new month, and there's definitely something about the start to a new year. So it really means like anything that happened this year, let's learn from it, right? So the wins, great. Let's take those wins into the future with us. Let's build confidence from those. Let's say, hey, if we accomplish that, maybe we can try this next step up as well. I love that. I love that specific mindset. We need to do that. But also the things that didn't work out or you didn't quite get to, now's the time, right? Like, let yourself off the hook. Okay, yeah, you should have done it. Maybe you should have. Same thing with myself too. But we're going to get after it this next year, and it's going to happen in just a couple days. So what I want for you to do is really think with that mindset of just let yourself start fresh this coming year. We'll be talking about that on the Mindset and Motivation Monday, just a couple days from now. So definitely stay tuned for it. But I love this time of the year. I take a lot of time for just reflection and thinking. So for me, I mean, I get my sleep every night. I get a solid 8 hours every single night. I definitely, that is a big thing that I focus on. And the reason is that I like to wake up early. You know, it's not like 4 a.m., but I wake up early between 5:30 and 6 a.m. I found that to be my sweet spot. I've tried 4:30 before. I've tried 5 a.m. It's a little too early for me. Nervous system feels a bit too wound that early, waking up that early in the morning. And I also don't like to go to bed at 8 o'clock. And so what I've done is found that to be my sweet spot. But now what I do, instead of maybe like, again, I always do my morning routine, which I've talked about on previous shows. But now what I've really been doing is spending that early morning time, those quieter hours that I have about, let's say an hour, a little bit more than that, before the family wakes up, is to reflect. And it's really to think about like, hey, what were the big wins for this year? And I love doing this anyway, because I do reviews with a lot of the executives on my team, the people that are the foundation. They run, whether it's Cabral Wellness, Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, or EquiLife, you know, they make all of that happen day to day. And so those reviews allow me to look back on the year and be like, hey, look at all these wins. Like, this is great. And then I always say, hey, what could we do better? And also, what should we stop doing that we're doing now that's preventing us from even being better next year, right? So I use all the Mindset and Motivation Monday topics, and I try to bring these into the reviews as well. And I do that in my own life. Like, what are the things that I need to stop doing that I've been doing this year that are holding me back from maybe even bigger and better things? And I think about that in all of my life. relationships and my work and my family and spirituality and body transformation, like all of those things. And so, yeah, it's something that I contemplate quite a bit, and this is a great time of the year to do it. So I hope you've had a great Christmas, a great Hanukkah. I hope that you very much enjoy this New Year-based season. So again, wishing you all of the best of health and happiness in this new year. All right, let's dive into the show. That's my personal update from Maine. Again, I always spend my holidays in Maine. It's a very special place for myself and my family. And again, like I said, I hope you're enjoying the season as well. So going on over at EquiLife, this is something that I wanted to do. So I don't always decide what's going on over with the EquiLife team in terms of certain promotions, but I love giving away some of my favorite things. And so our whole food bars are back. The chocolate brownie ones, the sunny date, and the apple cinnamon bars are back, and they are better than ever. We have a new baker that's even improved upon it, and we took about 8 months to do that. And so these are absolutely delicious. I mean, of course, we guarantee everything we do, and this is great for the family too. I put this in my specific notes for you that these are school safe for most schools. They are free of the 9 most common allergens. So my daughters take them to school in their backpack. They always have a healthy snack if they get hungry. I take them on planes, flights all the time, and I always have one, like I said, in my gym bag. It's like, it's always here. It's always ready. And what I want you to do is just sample them. That's it. And I'm giving away a box of 9 bars, the variety pack. So 3 chocolate brownie, 3 sunny date, 3 apple cinnamon crisp, all for free on all qualifying orders. This week over at EquiLife, we reserved 500 boxes. So to see if it's still available, just head on over to stevencabral.com/shop for your qualifying order, completely free box. Enjoy. All right, podcast recap for the week. This was a fun week of podcasts. It really was. I very much enjoyed it. I love all the different shows we went over, because a lot of them honestly are from the community. And I'm actually going to share that right now. So, planning your best year yet. People have really enjoyed the 12-week year podcast that I've done. It just makes taking a goal and achieving it so much simpler with taking the mind out of it. The mind is what holds us back. I mean, it really is. If you're looking to overcome an autoimmune issue, improve your career, improve your relationships, improve your spirituality, lose weight, gain weight, whatever it might be, like there's a program out there. Okay, so if there's a program out there, why aren't you doing it? That's the mind. That's the mind part. And so what I try to do is I always try to share that in the Mindset Motivation Mondays, and the 12-week year just simplifies it. Like, just follow the steps. Take your mind out of it. Just do the steps, right? And you'll achieve it. All right, that was, let's see. This is 2520. So all podcasts are at stevencabral.com/podcast. That was episode 2516. 2517 this week was one easy and inexpensive way to regrow hair. I'm working with so many people right now that are losing their hair. Their hair is thinning. Part of it is the virus that many people experienced. A lot of it inflammation, low thyroid, and more. I thought that I had them all. So at stevencabral.com/hair-loss, I wrote down every scientifically proven thing. It's not a ton. It's about like 7 things. Every scientifically proven way that men and women lose their hair, and the things that are actually scientifically proven to help regrow it, right, to the best of one's ability. And there was one that I left out. And I did additional research, and this one's been around for a while, but people haven't really been using it. And so when I saw the research, I said, are people starting to talk more about it? And they are. And so I did a show on that, and I just give you, it's like the device is $9.95. Like, it's not an expensive device. So definitely check that out. That was episode 2517. If you have thinning hair or hair loss for men and women. Wednesday's show is how do Blue Zone longevity cultures eat so many carbs? 65% of their macronutrients are from carbohydrates, yet they're not overweight and they live the longest out of all humans. How is it possible? Well, I go over that on that show. And then on yesterday's show was a case study on the Inflammation Score Lab. Super easy lab, super inexpensive to find out your inflammation levels. But then I also went over how to fix it and what was causing this individual's inflammation based on one of the new fad-based diets. All right, check that out. All those shows are at stevencabral.com/podcast. Now, for today's specific links to books and the research studies and the new product review I'm going to be doing right now, that's at stevencabral.com/2520 if you want to check that out. All right, so my wife and I, and when I say my wife and I mean my wife, when we buy fruit and vegetables, she cleans them in the sink in a bowl, ceramic bowl, and she'll throw in the strawberries in there, and she'll put in some apple cider vinegar and water, and she will let it soak, and you can see all of the dirt and all of the bacteria and all these things come off of it. So we've been doing that for many, many years. And when I say we, I mean my wife, because she's amazing, and she basically does all the great food prep for our family, and she's very, very good at it. So when I was talking, though, with Robbie and Melody Besner from TheraO3, they said, why are you not using an ozone bubbler? And I said, it just sounds too complicated. I know ozone would kill parasites. I know it would kill bacteria and viruses and get all the dirt off, but it just sounds so complicated. And they said, that's because you're not looking maybe at the right device. And so they, as in Robbie and Melody, are amazing people, and they sent me this bubbler. So this is it. And it is tiny. So if you look at it, it's probably the size of my head. My head's not tiny, but about the size of a human head, but much thinner. So it's probably 2.5 inches wide, and it's probably, I would say, 8 inches or so tall. But it sits flat just on your counter, and you can actually just put it in the drawer, which is what my wife and I now do. And it's so simple. So here's the thing. It has different settings. You're up and you're down. It removes smells. It removes toxins and kills bacteria and preserves freshness. But you can also put meat, which I didn't know. They put meat right in the water. And what they do is they stick this tube. Let me show you the tube. You connect the tube to your ozonator. You put the tube in the water, and all you have to do is for 15 minutes, you're gonna let it just sit there. That's it. You really only need 5 minutes. I do 15. I like to overdo things a little bit sometimes, and it works fantastically well. So now, if you want, add a little apple cider vinegar. If you choose to, that acidifies it. That will kill things as well. But honestly, the ozone makes it so much more fresh. And you could do that for just up to 5 minutes to ozonate a pitcher of water, should you want to. But I wanted to share additional things that I'm not yet using it for, but plan to. So they have two different tubes, one for oil and one for basically moving towards water. And here's the interesting things. And again, I do find this very, very fascinating because we've used ozone. I personally used ozone in clinics in Europe when I was interning there. And we did that for infection-based issues, et cetera. But let me just give you the top tips. So you can use the stone tip when looking to ozonate oil. And again, you could do it however you want. Either applicator is totally fine. But what I want to do, because I purchased some before, and this I can just do it myself now, is actually get just a small little mason jar or even a smaller jar of olive oil, and I can ozonate that olive oil. So I can actually use it on the skin. You can use it on your hands, your arms, your face. And what it does is it helps to rejuvenate that skin. And I should go back. Ozone basically is just an extra oxygen molecule. So when we think of oxygen, we think of O2, right? So 2 oxygen molecules. Well, ozone is O3. So you get an extra oxygen molecule. And what that does is it helps with free radicals in our body and oxidative stress. So the other thing that we plan to do, we just moved into a new place, and we are actually redoing our bathroom, which was sorely needed. We knew that when we purchased the place. But this device right here, if you're not watching this on video, that's okay. You're going to simply put the tube into your bathtub, all right? You put the tube in your bathtub. While it's filling up, you just ozonate the water. What does that do? Well, now your body's in ozonated water. It allows that ozone to seep into the pores to a degree and help with a lot of free radical-based damage. Plus, it is good for the skin. So easy to do. That is one more thing. So we talked about the oil. We talked about the food. We talked about the bathtubs. Let me see if there's one more. Or you can put it in your hot tub or pool, and it will actually act as a disinfectant for that. I know Robbie does that for his pool as well. We talked about the meat, the fish. That will help remove a lot of the impurities in those things as well, and any type of smell there might be. And that's it. So those are the main ways that I know to use it. If you know other ways, I would love you to share that below. Yes, people use it for breathing and that. I don't recommend that. This is a very strong ozonator. They have another device that I will link up that you can actually use, like I'll bring on airplanes. It's a much smaller device that you can easily transport. But so that is that. So I think it's fantastic. You can add it to an Epsom salt bath. That's what we plan on doing. add it to your fruit and veggie wash or your meat and fish wash for parasites, etc. And then the ozonated olive oil that I'm looking to doing as well. All right, so that is that. Stay tuned for the next research study when that comes up, because that's actually going to be used for fungal-based issues as well. But before we get there, my book review of the week. So I've known about the Silva method and Jose Silva for, how old am I? Let's see. Yeah, it's got to be 20 years. It has to be 20 years. And so in the early 1970s, the Silva method was absolutely becoming much more popular. I wasn't around then, but if I was, maybe that would have been better, because maybe I would have learned a little bit more about that earlier in my life. But instead for me, I had to wait till around 24, 22, 23, 24 years old to start learning about the mind and how the mind actually has a lot of control over the body. So Jose Silva learned a lot from studying hypnosis. So he had done hypnosis. He was trying to work on things in his own life, spirituality. He was a religious person, is no longer here, but a religious person, doesn't feel it conflicts with religion, which I don't either. And he studied another great that I talk about all the time, and that's Emile Coué, and the power of autosuggestion, basically using your mind to control your body and your life. And so anyway, I got to the book. I'd been meaning to read it for many, many years. You could do the audiobook. You can, of course, read the book. And now, the thing is this. If I had read this 20 years ago, it would have been like brand new. So if you're new to the meditation space, if you're new to autosuggestion, how to reprogram your mind, if you're new to positive thinking, if you're new to self-hypnosis and overall, I would say purposeful meditation as well, like using meditation for a purpose, not just to calm the mind, then this is going to be a great book and read for you. If not, it's a good review, but it's not going to be earth-shattering new information. Now, I say that as no disrespect, because I fully believe that in 15 years from now, the rain barrel effect is not going to be earth-shattering news. At least I hope not, because I will not have done my job. Jose Silva did his job. Other people have done their job, right? And so now we know a lot more about this. And so I appreciate Jose Silva and all his work, and it's still a great book. So even though it was written many years ago, if you're new to the things that I just spoke about, pick up a copy for yourself, or obviously feel free to listen to the audio version. It's called the Silva Mind Control Method by Jose Silva, and it is a great book. One of the books that kind of started a revolution. And and so again, like I said, if you're more of a beginner, it's great for self-hypnosis, positive thinking, purposeful meditation, and auto-suggestion. All right, really, really good. Okay, so the research study that I wanted to bring you that's related to the ozone is because I've had multiple clients with toenail-based fungus, and all but one of them was able to fix it without an issue. And they were able to fix it using things such as apple cider vinegar, which helps to kill fungal-based issues, citricidal drops mixed with coconut oil. And it worked really, really well. And then some of them had to do foot soaks, but again, it worked, right? So it was always good. But one client has not been able to fix that. So I just found new research, and I shared it with them, and I look forward in a few weeks to hearing how it went. Because, and the only reason I found out about this, one of the founders of TheraO3, and one of the reasons why they have this ozone bubbler in the first place, is they were able to heal their own toenail fungal infection, which did not respond to any other types of modalities. I can't use the word treatment, so I won't. And it worked. It took 2 weeks. What they did is they did 10 to 15 minute foot soaks. And if it's your fingernail, you can just put your hand in there. So basically they filled up a sink or a bucket with water. They put the ozone bubbler in there, and they kept it going for 10 to 15 minutes with the foot, with the infected toenail right in there. And in 2 weeks, they were able to fix that. And that's it. And so I was like, well, it's worth a shot, because if not, you need to have a podiatrist remove your toenail, do all sorts of things in order to get rid of that fungal infection, which nobody really wants to do. Now, of course, most of the people that I've helped, again, we fixed it internally. We worked on the gut, but we can also do topical as well. All right, again, not providing any treatment plans, medical advice, etc., but there is now a research study stating that this works. And I'm going to link it up for you. on onychomycosis, so a fungal infection, and it is done with laser therapy, which most dermatologists or podiatrists can use, and ozone-based therapy. There's actually multiple clinical studies. I'm going to link one up for you today called Combined Laser, excuse me, and ozone therapy for onychomycosis, and I'll share that with you. And basically, the laser is targeted energy pointed at the infected nail, and then ozone is used as a gas, or in this case, a gas inside of water to be able to kill that fungus. So I know a lot of people are dealing with this, and so this is a good one, and I can't recommend it enough because there's really no side effects. And that's that. So I'd love to hear your success story if you have really good luck with that. And of course, I'll give you a follow-up on my client as well. All right, next up, and I will link up again the book review, the research, the ozone bubbler, and this next research study at stephencabral.com/2520. All right, last research study is antiviral defense regulates intestinal function and overall gut health. So this was a very interesting study, and I'm going to share that with you right now. This was just published, 9 days ago. So obviously very, very current. And it was actually studied with SARS-CoV-2, and it was published out of the University of Cologne. And let's see here. I will link this up for you. It was published in the Journal of Nature Cell Biology, okay? And the study was actually called ER-associated RNA silencing promotes ER quality control. Now, I will translate that immediately into English so you know what that is, but mRNA stands for messenger RNA. So that's basically how chemicals and signals talk to each other within the body, as well as basically creating templated-based molecules that can respond to what is needed now and in the future. All right, and ER stands for endoplasmic reticulum. And this is essentially I don't want to call it the junction, but this is the cell's ability to be able to regulate cellular function, and specifically in this case, the proteins that need to be manufactured in order to destroy viruses and improve what is called the junction of the gut. Okay, so what does all of that mean in English? Because this study was really deep in the weeds, is that when we are infected with a virus, it seems to go both ways. If the gut is not in good health, there seems to be an issue with actually producing the proper amount of RNAi as well as ER, the endoplasmic reticulum, in a greater response. So if we stimulate more, we respond more, we actually then boost our immunity to kill off these viruses. Well, some people don't seem to be as responsive. And so they're studying the gut as to what is going on. But then they're also finding, and this is interesting from a naturopath's perspective, that I saw a lot of people who got the virus that then had gut issues. And they're showing that there may be an issue with creating inflammation and gut permeability with people that got the virus. Interesting. We've known infections could do that in the past. This virus seems to do it as well, the SARS-CoV virus. Okay, the other part was this. It is possible that intestinal permeability and greater amounts of inflammation led to the weakened immunity in the first place, which then created a greater severity to people who got the virus. So I like this type of research. The reason is there's a lot more to be studied, but we know right now that 80% of the immune system lives in and around the gut. So we need to improve our overall gut function, right? And if you have any bloating, gas, loose stool, constipation, acid reflux, etc., it's really worth running something like the gut bundle or the bacteria and parasite stool test or the Candida metabolic and vitamins test. You can find those at stephencabral.com/labs or with your integrative health practitioner level 2. But the truth is this, is that these infections may very well, even if you're not taking antibiotics, etc., may very well cause gut issues too. And so in that case, well, after we get a virus, we need to then work on rebalancing our gut as well. So I think it can work both ways. I just know that our bodies are not static. We need to continue to improve. And I think that's always the case, right? So as we're heading into this next year, improve both mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and this is going to be our year. So thanks, everyone. I appreciate you. Have an amazing start to your new year, and I'll talk with you soon. Take care. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equi.life, you can order an at-home lab test or lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquiLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equi.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equi.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.